Welcome to this explainer. Look, I'm going to be completely honest with you right out of the gate. The difference between a frustratingly close B and a highly coveted, life-changing A star in Cambridge IAS and A-level accounting, it almost always comes down to how you handle one exceptionally tricky standard. I'm talking about IAS 38, Intangible Assets. Today we're doing something totally different. I am literally pulling back the curtain. I want you to imagine pulling up a chair, grabbing a coffee, and sitting directly next to me at my digital marking desk. As a chief Cambridge examiner, I stare at thousands of these scripts on my glowing screen every single session. There's a live counter in the corner of my portal tracking the scripts marked today, and let me tell you, within moments of opening a file, I can tell exactly which candidates are going to secure their academic trajectory and which ones are about to slip right through the grading thresholds. It's a slightly wearing process, but I want to show you exactly how to win. We are going to look at this strictly through the lens of the marking interface. We'll dissect real past paper challenges, break down the actual methodology we use, and pinpoint the exact split-second moments an answer climbs into top-tier marking bands. So let's boot up the Cambridge portal, calibrate the mark verification meter, and get right to work.
Here's our marking checklist for today's session. We'll start inside the marking desk, then dissect the mark scheme, move on to a live peer clash between two student archetypes, do an interactive marking audit where you take the pen, and wrap up with the final grading log. Let's jump in.
Section 1. Inside the marking desk, decoding cognitive domains.
Okay, so picture this. When I log into the marking portal at 6 in the morning and load up the day's first batch of scripts, the clock is ticking. The absolute first thing I'm doing is running what we call a 15-second structure scan. I'm glancing over your response to check if you are demonstrating competence across three very distinct cognitive domains: knowledge, analysis, and evaluation. Now, a typical C-grade candidate usually gives me a massive, overwhelming slice of knowledge. They can perfectly recite the textbook definitions of research and development. That's great, but they completely miss the analysis and evaluation slices. To hit that A-star tier, you have to prove you can do more than memorize. You need to interpret complex relationships in the data and actually justify your accounting treatment with hard, undeniable evidence. I am desperately hunting for a mindset that proves you aren't just a robot reciting facts, but that you're genuinely thinking and acting like a professional accountant.
Let's move on to Section 2. Dissecting the mark scheme, procedure and command.
You have to understand that the Cambridge Assessment Framework aggressively prioritizes analytical depth over superficial breadth. Seriously, you could write 4 beautifully handwritten pages on the rich history of intangible assets and still miss the mark entirely because you ignored the command words. Let's contrast discuss versus evaluate. If a prompt asks you to discuss, it merely requires a broad overview, just stating the facts and laying out the scenario. But evaluate is where the big marks live. Top-scoring candidates demonstrate evaluative thinking by actually questioning the underlying assumptions and justifying their decisions with concrete evidence from the scenario. If the question specifically asks you to evaluate capitalizing development expenditure and you only discuss what capitalization means in a general sense, you literally cap your own grade. My hands are tied. The exact sentence structural choices you make right here signal to me, the examiner, whether you are operating at an elite A-star tier or dropping down into a C or D tier.
Which brings us to a very important number, 15. This represents the method mark strategy. Remember that 15-second structure scan I just mentioned? Well, in those crucial first 15 seconds, before I even start deeply reading your prose, my eyes are scanning the page for strict conventions. Presentation of information in accounting isn't just about making things look pretty. It follows non-negotiable rules. I'm asking myself, have you used proper headings? Is your terminology actually correct? For instance, are you correctly saying amortization for an intangible asset instead of depreciation? Have you used clear annotations in the appropriate formats? We award method marks for the correct process. If you show me right off the bat that you understand the professional layout of an accounting response, you instantly build my confidence in you as a candidate. It sets the tone for the entire grade.
All right, Section 3, the apprentice peer clash, structure versus flair. Now, I want to pull up a split-screen viewport scenario. Imagine we are watching a live feed of 2 candidates. Let's call them Student Alpha, Alex, and Student Beta, Sam. They are actively debating how to execute a high-tariff multi-part question on recognizing a newly acquired patent under IAS 38. On the left side of my screen, we have Alex. Alex is panic typing, dumping massive, completely unorganized paragraphs of facts. Alex is listing absolutely every single IAS 38 recognition criteria line by line, but providing absolutely no evaluative thesis linked to the specific patent in our scenario. It's a classic textbook data dump. Alex, I want to say, you're giving me facts, but no application. Now, on the right side, we have Sam.
Sam writes with this beautiful, flowing flair. The prose is stunning, vocabulary is off the charts, but it completely dances around the core command word. Sam argues that the patent is important for business synergy, completely missing the analytical depth required to justify the actual accounting treatment under the standard. As an examiner, my red pen is hovering over both of these scripts. Alex severely lacks application, and Sam completely lacks technical depth. They are both about to forfeit huge marks. So, how do we fix this live before they ruin their scores? Let's step directly into their debate and deploy the PEL structure. I use this to show candidates how to flawlessly reconnect their broken argument string. It goes like this. 1. Point. You need to state exactly what the accounting treatment should be right away. 2. Evidence. Extract the specific data from the stimulus material regarding this exact patent's cost and useful life. Don't speak in generalities. 3. Explanation. Apply the IAS 38 criteria to that specific evidence you just pulled to justify capitalization. And 4. Link. Draw a firm conclusion about the relative importance of this treatment on the overall financial statements. When Alex and Sam stop arguing, combine their strengths, and force their answer into this strict PEL framework, they instantly lock in those critical top band marks. It's like watching a chaotic puzzle suddenly snap perfectly into place.
Okay, time out for a second. We are pushing back from the desk for a quick, mid-marking coffee break. Before I grade this final model paragraph and reveal the exact mistake that literally costs thousands of candidates their A-star grade every single year, let's make sure we secure your own academic trajectory. If you really want to outsmart the marking desk, hit the subscribe button for Ace the Exams at the handle @AceExams right now and turn on all notifications. Whether you are sitting for IGCSE, O-levels, AS, or A-levels, this explainer is your direct, unfiltered channel to mastering the examiner's mindset. Seriously, click it. You don't want to miss what we do here.
All right, coffee down. Welcome back to the desk. Section 4, Interactive Marking Audit, where we practice spotting the penalties. I am officially handing my digital grading pen over to you. This is Challenge 1, the 30-second data scan. Look, comparative analysis is a massive part of high-level accounting responses. When you are analyzing a complex text matrix about a company switching from internally generated goodwill to an acquired brand name, you have to instantly recognize the framework at play. You should immediately know that IAS 38 strictly prohibits capitalizing internally generated goodwill, but absolutely allows it for an acquired brand name. Your brain needs to scan the data, find that connective tissue, and structure your comparative argument before your pen even hits the paper. You've got to identify the similarities and differences, use comparative connectives, support it all with hard evidence, and draw meaningful conclusions. If you can't mentally extract that framework in the first 30 seconds, you're going to get lost in the weeds.
Now for Challenge 2, spot the penalty. Read this exact sentence pulled from a real, flawed student script. The company recognized the intangible asset. The impact on the financial statements was bad because of the rules. Okay, where is the weak link? Take a second and look at it. Honestly, as an examiner, reading this makes a little part of my soul sink because it immediately forfeits about 5 critical marks. The fatal flaw here is a total lack of specific context and professional terminology. Saying the impact was bad is just descriptive fluff. It means nothing. Saying because of the rules shows absolute zero technical knowledge. A top-tier A-star response would say something like, capitalizing the research phase expenditure violated IAS 38, resulting in an overstatement of non-current assets and an artificial inflation of current year profit. Do you see the massive difference in caliber there? One is a student guessing, the other is a professional accountant analyzing.
Let's use the digital red marker here to highlight the top 3 mistakes extracted directly from the principal examiner reports. These are the things that consistently block students from the A-star tier. Mistake number 1, confusing cause and effect. Candidates so often state that amortizing an asset causes cash flow to decrease. They completely forget that amortizing is a non-cash expense. It drives examiners crazy. Mistake number 2, forgetting format and presentation conventions. Missing basic headings or using the wrong ledger formats entirely, that immediately bleeds method marks. And mistake number 3, answers are not specific to the given context. Giving me a beautifully rehearsed generic lecture on IAS 38 without actually applying it to the specific company in the case study is a guaranteed way to tank your score. Context is everything.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, the final grading log, universal truths. Okay, we've assembled our flawless response paragraph using the PEL structure, and we've successfully dodged the top penalties. But before I enter a perfect full mark score into the Cambridge portal, there are absolute laws of marking we need to log. The principal examiner report states this very clearly, and I quote,
Candidates consistently confuse key terminology. Always define terms before using them in extended responses. This is an ultimate non-negotiable rule. If you are basing your entire analytical argument on concepts like identifiability or useful economic life, you must spend at least one sentence precisely defining what that means under IAS 38. Why? Because it proves to the examiner that you are building your complex argument on a rock-solid foundation of fundamental principles, not just throwing buzzwords at a wall to see what sticks.
So here is the ultimate exam strategy sequence. This is what transforms a failing script into an absolute masterclass of professional skills. Step 1. Deconstruct the question and extract the relevant data from the stimulus materials. Step 2. Select your analytical framework, like our trusty Peel method, and execute it with clear notation. Step 3. Verify your results and present them using the correct professional terminology. If you meticulously follow this chronological sequence for every single high-tariff question, you align your brain perfectly with exactly how the examiner's rubric is designed to award points. You're literally giving us exactly what we're looking for in the exact order we want to see it.
Let's distill this entire marking session down into the 3 universal truths of an examiner's daily reality. Truth number 1, the 15-second structure scan. We are always looking for headings, correct formats, and structural logic instantly upon opening your script. Truth number 2, the mark per minute velocity rule. You absolutely must ensure the depth of your analysis perfectly matches the marks available. Please don't write 20 minutes of content for a simple 5-mark question. You're just cannibalizing your own time. And truth number 3, the final quality review pass. We are always scanning the end of your response to see if your final conclusion actually answers the specific command word that was asked at the very beginning. Master these 3 truths, and I promise you, you master the exam.
And just like that, that brings us to the end of today's shift at the marking desk. I'm logging out of the portal. If you found this breakdown valuable, you know what to do. Subscribe to @AceTheExams, and definitely hit that notification bell for our weekly examiner breakdowns. Drop a comment below right now with your subject, your qualification level, and your current target grade so we know who we're helping. But before you completely log off and close this tab, I want you to seriously consider this final thought. As we move further and further into a complex digital economy, how are traditional accounting standards like IAS 38 going to handle the capitalization of things like advanced AI training models or massive cryptocurrency holdings? The very definition of an intangible asset is evolving rapidly right before our eyes. The rules of the game are shifting. The real question is, will you be ready to account for it? Keep studying smart, and I'll see you in the next explainer.